Your first buttonhole. You are now at the point of your knitting where you have knit enough in that pattern to be at the distance required for your first buttonhole. On my errata sheet, I suggest the measurements for that. So I'm at about 4.5 centimeters. I'm a little shy, but that's that's good for where I feel is a good spot for the first buttonhole. The buttonhole, by the way, is always made on the right side edge of the garment, and this garment is knit from the front panel, the back panel, and the next front panel all in one. So when it's around the baby, it's like this. So this is the right front edge, or in our case, it's the right side of the garment. Now it's time to do the buttonhole. If you read the drops pattern, the buttonhole is described. If you look at it, you'll find the part that says 1 buttonhole equals bind off the 3rd stitch from the edge and cast on new stitch in the same place on the return row. And I can hear the new knitter going, what does that mean? So I'm going to do it not on here because it's tiny, and I just want to show you on a practice piece. So here's the practice piece. These are this is the right front edge, the right side. There's your seed stitch right there. There's the marker, and this is where your M1 would be. I just did a stockinette stitch there, but this is where you would be doing your repeated lace chart in here. But that's your seed stitch. I've already made 1 buttonhole, so you can see how it looks. And so I will show you how. So how do you do this? You bind off the 3rd stitch from the edge, which is what we do. So seed stitch starts with you knit, you purl. All right, this is the 3rd one where the magic happens. So normally you would knit this one, but instead what I want you to do is to just slip it over. It doesn't matter to me whether you slip it in this direction or slip it in this direction, it doesn't matter. Anyway, slip the stitch over, so it's slipped over. Knit the next stitch as you would normally. So this would be knit, purl, knit, except I slipped it, and then this would be purl. So I'm going to purl that stitch, and then I'm going to pass this slip stitch over. Hey, I just decreased by a stitch in there, and then your last one would be knit on your seed stitch. So that's how you just cast off, is what you did. So instead of having 5 stitches in there, you now have 4. Okay, that's the first part of it. Then you would proceed with your pattern, your M1 pattern, which I'm not going to do in this sample. It would take me too long. So I'm just going to knit to the end of this row to show you what you do on the return. So you've done your M1, okay, and you've hit the end of you're doing the other seed stitches on the other side, and then you're turning your garment over, and normally you'd be doing the other seed stitches on the other side, and then you'd be getting into your M1 pattern. But I'm just doing stockinette to show you what happens. So you're getting back to where the buttonhole has. The other band doesn't have buttonholes because that's actually where you sew the buttons on, right? So there we go. So now we're at the part, good, we finished our M1 pattern. We're slipping that over, and now we're back to the seed stitch, except we're missing one, and we have to make up for it. So the seed stitch, again, would go knit, and then purl, and now we've got a gap. So what we have to do is we have to put an extra stitch in there. We have to cast on one, and the easiest way is by just making a loop with your yarn, taking your yarn, making a loop like that. That was easy. See, just take your yarn and just make a little loop and slide it over top and pull it down, and there you have now cast on a new stitch in place of the one that was missing. And now we continue with the seed stitch pattern, which would be knit, purl, knit. So the next one is purl and then knit, and we turn it over, and you have created your very own buttonhole. You see it there? And then you would just continue on as normal.